violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get into the video. So this video right here is a brother explaining why he is against the critical race theory at a board meeting, at a school board meeting. And a lot of these parents are, you know, getting put under fire because they do not support the critical race theory. And it's pretty crazy, you know, even the Justice Department, the federal Justice Department, going after specific parents who don't agree with certain school board members' curriculum that they're trying to implement into the school system. So we'll let them speak about it.
When you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other, that's pretty much what it's going to, I don't care what you say, it's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he white? You're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed?
Okay, so this is a guy, he's very passionate about his points, and, you know, he's making good points. He was able to overcome the quote-unquote systematic racism. He was able to overcome all of the obstacles that a black man faces in this day and age. And to teach that you are automatically oppressed or mandated to be oppressed just because of the color of your skin is wrong. And that is what would perpetuate white supremacy inevitably, because guys, especially black men, would take on this victim mindset and walk around with an even bigger chip on their shoulder than we already do. You know, because we're fighting against so many things, trying to fight against stereotypes and fight against different ideas that people have about us.
How did I get, first of all, time up, because I only got 5 minutes now, 5 minutes. 2 medical degrees, no mom, no dad in the house, worked my way through college, sat there and hustled my butt off to get through college. You gonna tell me somebody that looked like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious? Not one white person ever came to me and say, well, son, you're never going to be able to get nowhere because you know the black people. But guess what? What's sickening about this whole thing is what y'all doing right now is already something I do in my community right now to speak out against stuff, because black folks are getting told by other black folks, oh, you know you ain't going to be able to do nothing out there in the world because them white folks ain't going to let you get no.
Facts. 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 The only people who are holding us back are us. And it's like you always have that pessimistic mentality. And that's why people leave the hood, because all the hood dudes are telling you you're not going to be able to get somewhere. White folks ain't going to let you do this. If you got a high imagination, you ain't going to be able to do this. White folks ain't doing this. They got their foot on our neck. So people in the hood are telling you this thing. No white person has ever came up to me and stopped me from doing what I wanted to do, or told me that I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do. Not once.
Oh, you know you're not gonna be able to do it because you know, the white man gonna keep you down. Well, how did I get where I am right now if some white man kept me down? How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I work for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You gonna sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory? Of this the reason why black folks can't get ahead because of white folks? Are you kidding me? This is what we.
Right. The reason why we can't get ahead is because we removed the family structure. We allow our black women to lead with these emotional talking points, and they predominantly outvote us. And, you know, we're just too violent against each other and other people.
I can't believe we're even talking about this right now. The last thing I'm going to say right here is something that's crazy. Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what? Their character, not their skin. If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. If y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on this grave with this nonsense, the person that's gonna be suffering from this, the one's gonna be hurt from this, is the kids. 10 years from now, if this stuff goes on, whose fault is it gonna be? Who we gonna look?
And I actually saw a headline of MLK the Third basically saying, you know, don't celebrate MLK Day. Let me see what he actually said before I, you know, put words in his mouth. Says don't celebrate. All right, he said don't celebrate his dad's birthday until they pass a voting rights bill, which basically they're trying to do this. They're trying to pass a voting rights bill where you're not required to provide identification to vote. And what this is going to do, which is, you know, pretty much MLK's kids have sold him out. He'll be rolling in his grave. But pretty much in this voting rights bill, they're trying to make it so that immigrants, you know, illegal immigrants are able to vote and vote Democratic because they basically want these illegal immigrants to take over the voting bloc of African Americans. So MLK's son is telling us not to celebrate MLK Day because of a voting rights bill that assumes that black people aren't intelligent enough or resourceful enough to go to the DMV and get a valid driver license or an ID. I mean, Martin Luther King would be rolling in his grave. I mean, they're not even doing what he sought out to accomplish. So, I mean, it's wild.
Back on the blame for this, because this is stuff we talking about right now. This stuff is going on right now. I do this stuff on a daily basis. I'm in the hood. I'm in the communities. I'm out there with folks in their face. I've been doing this stuff since I was 18 years old, talking to black folks. And you know what? None of them are buying this nonsense. None of them are. But if you want to implement this into the school system, I guarantee you to the day that I die, I'm going to be the very person right there debunking stuff, tearing stuff down, letting them know they can do exactly what I did and get exactly where I am by putting themselves work and getting there. And ain't not one white person ever gonna keep any of them from getting there. So the CRT stuff, BS.
So guys, we saw that passionate brother there speaking on CRT, and I'm going to show you the results of CRT and what it is going to accomplish in the community if they implement this into the schooling system. It's going to continue to perpetuate the victim mentality that black people have in this country and throughout the whole world in general, but majority in the West. This is what goes down. This is a video of these brothers tearing up a store because they thought they were being profiled because the teller asked them if he could help them. So these brothers thought that the teller was accusing them of stealing. He thought that they thought that they were being stereotyped, even because they come in there with hoods on and masks on. They felt like they were being stereotyped, so they cause a scene, being emotional black men that they are, being, you know, single mother raised brothers that they are. They come in and cause a scene, and instead of debunking these stereotypes and saying, hey, you know, we're not doing anything, we're coming to buy our stuff, you know, you ain't gonna have no problems out of us, they tear the store up and perpetuate the stereotype that they just were profiled for being.
Why you kept acting as that? Why you kept acting as that? Why you kept acting as that?
He said, why are you trying to ask us that if you guys can't understand him? He's speaking that broken English.
Why you kept acting as that? Huh? I feel like you need to know. You acted like 10 times, bro.
He asked them if he could help them. And This is what probably happened. He said, hey, can I help you? They didn't answer. Hey, can I help you? They probably like, man, who this man talking to? Who you know. So they get in an attitude. He asked him, can I help you? He didn't get a response. So your response is to tear up the whole convenience store?
Bro, why you acting like 10 times do we need help?
You see him. He didn't mean anything by it. But now they're trying to guilt trip him and make they switch the script. They flip the script, and now they're the victims and he's the perpetrator. Now he's defending himself to guys who just came in and destroyed his store. This is why I say the white community will not have backlash. They're not gonna. We're not gonna face any backlash from the white community because y'all are laying down. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all laying down. This is laying down to me.
What? What? Say what? People? What? People? Yeah.
All right, let's get back to this horrible breaking news.
In the city's Olney section, Philadelphia police are investigating the discovery of a woman's burning body.
Hank, what are you seeing?
Well, unfortunately, Mike, way too much. If you look down the alley back there, that is unfortunately where the remains of this woman remain. What we know essentially is that police and fire responded to what was reported to be a fire back here in the alleyway behind Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. This is Duncannon and Marshall Streets, about a block from 6th. When they got here, police say they found the body of this woman that had been burned with apparently a trail of blood leading up to it. Here's what.
Wow, so a woman's body is found in an alleyway in Philadelphia, burning. You can't make it up. This is Philly. They might touch 600 murders. I mean, we do have, what is it, the 19th? We've got some time. They may touch 600 murders.
Philly Police Chief Inspector Pace had to say.
The Philadelphia Fire Department received a call for a fire on a back alleyway behind the 5200 block of North Marshall. When Fire Board arrived to put the fire out, they quickly discovered that the fire was actually consuming a human body.
Yeah, and guys, and the neighborhood is still actually waking up to this. I spoke with a young woman that walked out to me asking me what in the dickens was going on. I actually had...
What in the dickens was going on? I'm sure she didn't say that. But let me ask you guys this, all my people in Philadelphia or surrounding areas. How can you feel safe when a woman's body is burning in the alleyway next to your home? If there's on demon time so heavy out there that, you know, it's almost normal to see a woman's burning body in an alleyway. That's wild.
I had to apologize when I told her exactly what it was, because no one needs to hear that first thing coming out. I'm told, guys, that there will be no changes to the schedule here at Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. This is literally in the alley behind the school. Police tell me there are no windows pointing toward that area.
So, wow. By Thurgood Marshall Elementary School, Thurgood Marshall will be rolling in his grave if he were to see what was going on near an establishment named after him.
Area over there, but except for the fact that early kids are allowed to play on the playground out front, they won't be allowed to do that today, but the schedule should remain the same here. Now listen, about this body, I spoke with neighborhood residents. 3 or 4 of them have told me that they heard a pop, 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 pop in the back alley at about 3 or 4 a.m. One woman said she hears it way too often, rolled over and went back to sleep.
Wow. Think about the impact of that. She said she heard gunshots way too often. She heard them so much that she's like, let me go get some more shut-eye. Didn't come through my apartment. Let me go back to sleep.
I spoke with Inspector Pace about this. He says he doesn't know whether or not the woman was shot, and there's no way to tell until a full medical examination is performed. Again, the body has been burned, guys. The victim is unidentified. They tell me that she is in her 20s to 40s. They don't know an awful lot about her, but there's a surveillance camera strapped to the wall of Thurgood Marshall School right there. It sits about 60 feet from where the body lies right now.
Wow. So this guy potentially could have been caught on camera. Wow.
Covered, police, fire, all doing their work right now. This clearly under investigation right now. We're going to have more for you as the hours go on, but right now there's a woman dead in the alley, her body burned up here in Olney. Guys?
Yeah, that's where we are. I've had so many people tell me too that they hear the gunshots, and I mean, it doesn't even startle them anymore. Yeah, it was gunfire.
It's a sad state that we're in because it just happens so much every day.
Let's get to Montgomery County, where police want to find 2 suspects involved in a pretty brutal road rage assault.
This is not a good look, Hank.
It's a horrible look. Apparently yesterday was beat people in the street day up here in Jenkintown.
Man, I mean, Hank is on every story in Philadelphia.
On TikTok, maybe. Oh, wow, maybe it went viral. I'm disgusted, guys. At the end of the day, you can't do this. I never thought I'd have to lecture the public on not beating people in the street. We all know, but take a look at this video, guys. A couple of people...
You're not lecturing the public. You're lecturing us. You're lecturing brothers and sisters. There's nobody else out here doing this type of stuff. Squaring up in the middle of the street, fighting for no reason.
Just don't. Jenkintown police put this out on their Facebook yesterday. It happened right here at Rydell.
And the man is egging her on, turning her up, instigating, cheerleading. This is what we got going on. This is the community that we're breeding, man. It's insane.
Road and Old York Road, road rage incident.
And now the man puts hands and feet on the woman. Wow. It's different out here.
Exploded when 2 women beat another woman right by her vehicle. The video lacks the context of how the incident all began, but the end is all too clear. One woman grabbing another, throttling her, pushing her, pounding her back into her car. She's joined by a man. Both of them work at the victim, finally dragging her out and stomping her until she blacks out. Jenkintown.
Wow. So for all of you black women who are saying protect black women, y'all aren't even doing that. So at least let's keep it consistent. If you're going to tell black men to protect black women, you also have to tell black women to protect black women, because it looks like the beefs that y'all are starting are resulting in black men getting involved and doing what we do. You know what I mean?
Town police are looking for help in tracking down these 2 suspects. Take a close look at these pictures. It's a man and a woman. The man specifically wears a red hat and jacket, and he's got a long-ish beard, but he climbed out of a late model F-150 crew cab pickup with no tags on it. That pickup truck is black. Guys, here's the statistic that I actually pulled off the AAA website a while ago.
So remember the story where the Philadelphia council member pretty much instituted or proposed a bill that it basically enables people who are driving a vehicle to not get pulled over for certain things. So we got a guy, he has a black F-150, no plates. If the police pull him over, they could potentially get in trouble for going against this bill. If they pull him over, say, hey, we want to search you, it's discrimination, it's this, that, and third. Like, you can't win for losing.
They widen out road rage, interpret that as aggressive driving, but they blame aggressive driving in more than half of crashes that result in fatalities. 25 miles an hour here along Old York Road, cars whipping by at 50. It's just a little bit dangerous out on the street, even more so when we can't check our tempers and maybe understand one another. We got to be a little more patient on the road and check ourselves long before we get to a point where we're...
This ain't about the road. This is about us not having value for each other.
Fighting strangers. If you know who did this, call Jenkintown Police. Guys?
Yeah, and hopefully they will. I mean, so angry that it's just the stomping could have killed her.
We're working some new details on a deadly officer-involved shooting. This happened in the Ballantyne area last night, just before 7 o'clock on Blairbith Street, right near Lancaster Highway. CMPD says an officer shot and killed a man after he broke into his ex-wife's home and stabbed her 13-year-old daughter multiple times.
Wow. So we got a guy who breaks into his ex-wife's home and stabs the daughter. I mean, how crazy can you get? The police pull up and they kill him. They shoot him. Wow.
Channel 9's Glenn Counts is at the scene again for us. He was there last night. He's live from the neighborhood. So, Glenn, police are telling you now the girl will be okay?
Yeah. So we got the brother Glenn Counts on the scene. I don't know what the victim looks like. I don't know where the perpetrator looks like, but I'm assuming that it's a brother because they sent brother Glenn out here to do the story, okay? And they usually don't do that unless it is a brother. But it looks like a nice neighborhood, though.
Yeah, police tell us that this has obviously been a very difficult ordeal for the teen, but she is listed in stable condition, which is a very good sign that she is going to pull through. Chief Johnny Jennings described the incident last night as almost like a hostage situation. When officers arrived, they found the suspect and the teen in very close proximity to each other. Those officers, according to Jennings, tried to de-escalate the situation, but then the suspect allegedly started stabbing the teen, forcing those officers to use deadly force.
Yeah, see, the police pull up, they're trying to de-escalate, and the guy goes and stabs the teen girl. This can only be, like, it can only be what... Like the stories that almost sound impossible, that sound just like made up, usually end up being brothers, unfortunately. But what I will say though, this kind of reminds me of the Mikiyah Bryant situation, where she had the knife and she was going to go and stab another girl that she was fighting, and the police officer pulls up and shoots her before she could do that. If this police officer would have shot this man before he could stab this young teen girl, we would have had another Mikiyah Bryant situation unfolding. So it sounds messed up to say, but thankfully, thank God that he actually stabbed her before the police shot her, because then we might have protests on the street.
Dr. Jan Gobb,
riots, excuse me,
is a police body camera expert at UNC Charlotte. She says those officers were presented with the kind of situation that almost never happens and is the toughest that any cop can face.
What did I just tell you? He said it almost never happens. It sounds impossible. Who do you think that is?
Is she too close? Is, you know, what's the likelihood that I'm going to hit her instead of hit him, right? But what, on the flip side of that, what is the likelihood that if I do nothing, that something worse happens, right? So it's a calculus that every officer goes through that has to be involved in a situation like this.
Now, as we mentioned, this situation started when the homeowner's ex-husband broke into that house. At this point, police have not released his name, nor have they released the names of any of the officers who were involved. Back to you.
But some good news that sounds like that teen's going to pull through. Glenn Counts live for us tonight.
So guys, I want to let the Charlotte police officer, or or the sheriff or whatnot speak on this situation to give us a little bit more information to maybe who the suspect is. But as you can see, either he's a police chief or a sheriff, I'm not sure, but he's a brother. And it seems like every city we go to, that's how it is. So I'm really hard pressed to say that there aren't any jobs and we're not getting opportunities when every city we go to where there are a plethora of violent crimes, the police chief or the sheriff is either a brother or a sister.
So the motive to stab a 13-year-old is something that is beyond comprehension for us in law enforcement. However, we're going to put the facts to this case together and hopefully put all the pieces together to try to get an understanding of why this happened. We never want to see a case like this end up where anyone's injured or much less killed. I think our officers did what they had to do. They were heroic in their actions. However, it did not turn out the way we would like it to.
How was that officer doing?
Thank you for asking. The officer is obviously distraught, as well as the other officers who were inside. We are going to take as best care of them as we can because you talk about physical injuries. There's also some psychological injuries, mental injuries that our officers have to be able to endure, and we have a resilient group of sworn officers here, and we just have to make sure that we're taking good care of them as well.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.